you're not cool for not wearing a helmet.
I'm not saying I'm cool.
No, like you think that you're cool. You're like,
think
oh,
I'm
I'm gonna
cool?
like look like a nerd wearing a helmet. No, like you're not cool for not wearing one. You know what's not cool? A head injury.
I didn't say I won't. I'll wear the helmet.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm not your mom. I'm not your mom.
I'm gonna wear the
do
helmet.
what you want, John. I just want you to know, like, I'm signing you off to whatever facility so I don't have to, in sickness and in health, no, because this was your choice.
And welcome back to Give It To Me Straight.
I'm Alex.
And I am John.
And
we're your gracious
gracious
hosts.
Yay.
What's
Happy
up?
Tuesday, John.
Happy Tuesday.
How was your weekend? What'd you do?
What did I do? What are we allowed to say?
I'll tell you what happened last week, right after we filmed last week's episode. So everyone, thankfully, was on my side, and they're like, John,
Oh, I was talking about the helmet.
wear a helmet. Okay, but shall I continue? So, I don't know. It's just a day during the week. I'm finishing up some work. The sun is setting. It's like a really nice evening. And so John's like, I think I'm going to go take the
We
bike.
didn't talk about that in the
for a
last
little ride.
episode?
No, because it happened after.
Why did we even talk about the bike then?
Because you were riding it around in our driveway in your Crocs, and then this happened. So to get back to my story, John, so I'm finishing up an edit, and I was like, okay, while you're out on your bike ride, I'll start dinner. So I finish up on my edit, I'm starting dinner, and I text John, and I go, dinner will be ready in 10. And then I don't get a response
First
from
off,
him.
she didn't say, oh.
Do you want to keep cutting me off and being
not
wrong?
before. You didn't say it before I left. You just said, I'm going to make dinner at some point.
Let me finish. Okay. I'm telling the story correctly, but you just keep interrupting me.
There's something in the details. What's the...
Do you want to tell the story?
No, but like the details are important.
I've been giving all the details. I was working, and then I started making dinner. John's out on his bike this whole time. So I text him, and I'm like, dinner will be ready in 10. And then 10 minutes later, I don't get an answer from him. So we have each other's locations, and I check it if a situation like this. So I'm like, oh, it says he's home. And I'm like, so he probably just got back. He'll be up in a few minutes. Like 5 minutes go by, and I'm like, I'm calling your name. I'm like, John, like, where is he? And then I go downstairs, and I'm like, oh my God, like his bike isn't here. Why would his location say that he's here? So it's getting dark now. I'm like, okay, I'll wait like 10 more minutes, but now he's been gone for over an hour. And I'm starting to get nervous. And I'm like, don't be crazy. Let me wait a little bit longer. So I'm calling him because of like maybe his location just didn't update and it's pinging that he's at home, but he's actually somewhere else because I know that that's like happened before. And so I give it maybe I want to say I gave it 15 minutes, but there's no way. I think I gave it 5 more minutes because then I just started like having a panic attack. So I put the dinner, like I push it off the stove because I know Kobe would probably eat it. I get in the car and I start looking for you. And this entire time I'm like, he's fucking dead. Because I went into the garage. I don't see your phone, but what do I see? Your helmet sitting in the garage. So his bike is gone, John is gone. I don't know where he is. He doesn't have a helmet on. And I'm going through every scenario. I'm like, he got hit by someone and now he's loaded in the back of the truck. Someone's going to bury his body because they don't. So I'm looking for your bike. I'm just looking for any indication that you were smashed dead on the side of the road. And so I'm probably maybe 15 minutes away from calling the police. The local, very attractive police, and being like, I don't know, is it too early to file a missing persons report? And so I'm like pulling back down to our street, and I get a call from you, and you go, hey, where are you? And I go, where are you? And I lose it, and I immediately start crying. I kept it together, but I start crying as soon as I heard your voice. And I think you thought that I was joking. You were like, ha, are you crying? And I wanted to kill you even more. So I pull up the driveway. You're just there with your stupid bike, living life as if there's not a problem in the world.
You done?
Why didn't you bring your phone?
I wanted to unplug. I told you, I was like, I'm on my phone all the time. Let me just unplug.
If you were good with
and
directions.
then also, I knew that it would fall out of my pocket. I was like, whatever, I'll just go for a quick ride. Not a big deal. How long was I gone?
It
30 minutes?
No. It was at least an hour and 20. And I wouldn't have cared about the time. It was the fact that the sun was down at that point. I'm like,
Listen, you're justified. I felt really well at first. You're right. I thought you were joking, and then you pulled up, and she's just bawling her eyes out in the car. I'm like, this is the last thing I need to do is give her more like trauma in her life.
Like, talking about it, I'm like getting teary eyed just thinking about like if something happened to you. That was John goes, this is how I know that you love me. I'm like, oh, you have to go missing. This is what
I go, your previous self, like 7 years ago, if they saw how you were acting, they'd be like, get over him. But,
oh my God.
Okay, so this is what happened.
Yeah, what's happened is what happened.
Right, but now my part of it is, I left my phone, all that stuff. I go for this ride, and I'm like, let me just check out the neighborhood. And there's so many side streets and private streets and all this, and I'm trying to like just get the lay of the land. Long story short, it gets dark. I get lost. I'm like, fuck. And I'm just riding around trying to find a street that I remember. And luckily, eventually I found it. Eventually I found it. But then I got home and I had like 5 missed calls from Alex. She just wouldn't talk to me the rest of the night. I felt terrible. I really did feel terrible.
I just like, I don't understand in what world you don't know the neighborhood. You're already bad with directions. Like, why would you not bring your phone? I'm also pregnant, John.
I'm bad with directions.
But I'm also pregnant. If something, and I'm high risk, like if something were to happen and then I
already feel bad. I get it. I'm sorry I got
lost.
lost.
In your brain, you're like, let me unplug. Like, no, you're not. When you have a pregnant wife at home, you're not allowed to fucking unplug.
I was leaving for like 10 minutes. So I thought. Can we just... I'm bad with directions. We went to lunch yesterday.
I admit that I'm bad with directions. I say it out loud. You like to be like, I'm Mr. Christopher Columbus, but you don't know how to fucking turn left. Like,
okay.
Zoolander.
Fine. Side note, Alex gave me all this shit about getting a helmet. Alex bought herself her own bike, and
it's not even built yet.
I didn't get a helmet.
I will buy a helmet. I'm not riding around with no helmet.
But you got the bike first with no helmet?
Because I wanted to see the bike so I could match a nice helmet to the bike.
Okay.
You still have to put the bike together.
There's so many things to do.
To build.
Alex just keeps buying shit that has 9 gazillion It's just annoying. Don't buy it.
Everything has an I wonder how many Allen wrenches we have.
Thousands.
Thousands.
And that's all we have in our Rubbermaid toolbox. It's amazing we've survived with just that.
There's not much that you need. Like, we have the necessities, like a hammer. We have a bajillion screwdrivers, 1 million Allen
Somebody
wrenches.
stole my drill.
I know. Someone stole your ladder and your drill.
I made sure they bought me a ladder.
Right.
But I couldn't prove the drill. Anyways.
They were like, these people don't have tools. This has to be ours.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, this thing that's going around, this is random. This like whole millennial Gen Z ankle sock, long sock thing.
Yeah.
That's going around. Are you trying to like be like the Gen Zers?
Why are you asking me? I only have ankle socks.
Maybe it was Kat. Someone was like trying to, I think I'm going to call Kat out. I'm pretty sure she was like, I don't want to look like I'm a millennial. So I'm going to look like the younger.
There's a look that can look cute with higher, what is it? Not above ankle socks. So like, what do you call those? Regular socks, not ankle socks? I don't know, but I just only have ankle socks. So no, I'm a millennial. Like,
I'll die on that hill of I'll wear ankle socks till I die.
But I do like
or no socks.
Longer socks, but usually I just wear them at home and they're
also it's not
socks.
like they came up with that style. I remember growing up and it was long socks, champion socks.
Yeah, like our parents.
Yeah. I remember having long socks as a kid and then trying to roll them down. It's either you did the fold method in the front to make them in the ankle socks, or
styles are always changing. I literally can't keep up. Just do whatever the fuck you enjoy.
No one's original. Also, I'm seeing a lot of like high school kids wearing those the dad shoes now.
Well, yeah, like trends always cycle back.
Bell bottoms.
Exactly. No, the other thing though is there was a TikTok going around about like checking out it was the SNL skit about the Explore page.
So funny.
I was like, looking at your boyfriends or your girlfriends or whatever, your partner's Explore page. And I was like, let me look at John's Explore page. So you pull it up this morning and I wasn't expecting hot girls, but I don't think
I mean,
was
don't get me
expecting-
wrong. I look at hot girls, okay?
Sure. But I don't think I was expecting
I looked at
Just
one fucking article
pop
and then it
culture
popped up.
articles. It was like Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, and then J-Lo and her split, or Snooki and Gianni. And I'm like,
I
oh
mean,
my God.
are they
these
split up? Is J-Lo and Ben Affleck, are they together? I want to know.
I was like, wow, John, you're a pop culture girly squirrely.
I'm not constantly looking at pop culture, okay?
It's because you want to be a reality TV star.
I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be the best.
Put it out there. Put it in the universe.
I got it. Non-scripted. I walk in. I do my own thing. I stir up drama. Boom. Done.
Maybe they'll start a documentary on you, like the Army Hammer documentary, like I watched this
That's
weekend.
not what I want.
That was crazy. If you guys haven't watched that and you I guess that wouldn't technically fall into the true crime, but maybe because it is true.
Did I watch it?
Crime. No, Kat and I were just watching it when you guys were
Dead.
drunk at the pool. I'm like, I'm so over you. So Kat and I just made a cheese plate and watched the Army Hammer documentary. Crazy.
God, just like one day of drinking, it just destroys your body. I just feel like trash. And then Alex ordered all this food. So like, I don't feel like making food because we have all this pasta and chicken and I don't want to waste it.
I know you were drunk because in the house you go, order me as much protein as you can. You go out to the pool, they deliver the food, I bring it out and you go, why would you order food? And I go, you fucking said order as much protein as you can. So I ordered 1 billion dishes that were just meat-based, and then you had the audacity. You forgot.
I mean, I believe you, because this just reminds me of telling that guy to go up to you at the bar and tell you that I'm like a terrible person
Right.
or whatever, and then I forgot. Yeah, that makes sense. That checks.
Also, like, I'm the sober one and you're the drunk one, and in that situation as well. So it's like, why are you? Don't even question me. But yeah, that's that. But if you guys are in New York and you go out east, Wolfer Estate, oh my God, such a nice vineyard.
Amazing.
Also, I will say, if you're either pregnant or just not drinking in general,
You've had many bottles.
I have been trying so many sparkling wines, like non-alcoholic sparkling wines, like non-alcoholic, just things in general. And there's 2 that I have found that are actually delicious. The beer, Athletic Brewing.
Yes.
So good. So good. And refreshing. Like it's a good, refreshing.
Well, it tastes like actual
non-alcoholic beer.
That's the thing. You want it to taste like alcohol.
Well, the thing is, not necessarily that, but like I just
Trick your mind.
I don't want it to be sweet. And I feel like anything non-alcoholic is just so juice concentrate. Like, and I hate sweet things. So the next best one is Spring in a Bottle, which is the non-alcoholic rosé, sparkling rosé from Wolfer Estate. Oh my God. The best. I was like,
I've tried all of your non-alcoholic drinks, and those 2 are the only 2 I like.
That's what I
Athletic
mean.
Brewing and the Wolfer
Yeah.
non-alcoholic.
And to each
rosé.
their own. Everyone has their own preferences. Some people do like sweet, juicier things, but I would prefer something more dry. And hit the spot.
Yeah.
Really good. While you guys were all getting litty titties, I was enjoying myself.
Also,
watching you.
their the design, like everything they do with their bottles of wine, and it's just like I loved it. It's like my favorite design.
Good marketing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well done, Wolfer.
I guess that's pretty much everything that happened this week. And in short, wear your helmet, John, and bring your phone with you.
You got it.
Things can happen, and you want to be prepared. I don't care if you're just down the street.
All right.
Look at me in the eyes and promise me.
Maybe. Oh, the phone, yeah. Helmet, I don't know.
Why? Do you think you just look stupid? Who cares? You're married.
That's not why.
Then why?
I don't know, because I just don't want to. I want to feel the air through my hair. I just want to piss everyone off.
That's why they have a bunch of The only person you're going to be pissing off is me when you get a head injury.
I
and
will
then
wear
have
it
to be in the hospital
if
with
I'm
you.
going into town with the bike. I'm going to wear it. If I'm in our little neighborhood,
John,
cruising,
we live in a
you know
neighborhood
what?
of people who can hardly see.
I'll wear it. Sure.
They're going to hit you and run over you, and you'll be squished dead.
I better get that life insurance policy then.
I will take one out on you. I'm not getting a life insurance policy.
All right,
'cause I know that
I'll
you'll
wear the
try to
helmet.
kill
Let's
me.
go.
Are we jumping into questions?
Do you have anything else to talk about?
Yeah, I just want you to tell me that you're going to wear a helmet. Everyone was telling you to wear a helmet.
I can't promise, because sometimes I might forget. But yeah, I'll wear it. when I remember. When you yell at me to wear it, I'll wear it.
You're not cool for not wearing a helmet.
I'm not saying I'm cool.
No, like you think that you're cool. You're like,
think
oh, I'm
cool?
gonna like look like a nerd wearing a helmet. No, like you're not cool for not wearing one. You know what's not cool? A head injury.
I know.
I thought out of anyone you would understand this the most. Like you being in healthcare. I'm gonna keep saying it.
I didn't say I won't. I'll wear the helmet.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm not your mom. I'm not your mom.
I'm gonna wear the
do
helmet.
what you want, John. I just want you to know, like, I'm signing you off to whatever facility, so I don't have to in sickness and in health. No, because this was your choice. This was your choice.
Make sure it's a good facility.
Where they wait. I'm not even gonna look into it. I'm gonna say John would probably put me in a discounted facility.
Don't put me in like a Medicare run facility. I'll be fucked.
You won't have a choice. It's gonna be whatever I want. Let's jump into questions.
This is so depressing.
Then wear your helmet. It's not simple.
I said yes.
You said no. You said I might forget.
Just remind me.
Again, I'm not your mom. I said my piece. If something happens to you, that's on you. And I now my guilt
Is there anything in pop culture you want to talk about?
My guilt has been released. You know, actually, I do want to know when Hailey Bieber is due. When does she due? I don't know, Alex. I don't care.
Oh, I actually forgot she was pregnant.
Yeah, I wonder.
What about the show Traitors that's coming out with
Don't
Tom
know what
Sandoval?
that's about. Don't care. And before we continue, this episode is sponsored by Blissy. If you haven't heard of them, Blissy's award-winning 100% mulberry silk pillowcases are the real deal. They are made out of silk, which is incredible for your hair and skin. No more waking up with frizzy hair or dry skin. It keeps your hair's moisture locked in and helps your skincare work its magic overnight. Imagine waking up with smoother skin and shinier hair every day. And listen, there are a lot of fakes out there claiming satin is just as good, but satin is made from synthetic fibers like polyester. Silk, it's natural, luxurious fiber. Silk is breathable and much more gentle on your skin. Plus, it's durable. Think of it as an investment in your beauty sleep. One thing you will absolutely love is that Blissy pillowcases are hypoallergenic and machine washable. If you have sensitive skin, then sleeping on this will be a game changer. No more itching or rashes, just pure comfort. No more flipping the pillow to the cool side. And your hair, let's just say bedhead is a thing of the past. It's like sleeping on a cloud and you will never go back to regular pillowcases. Everybody who tries it loves Blissy. They have so many prints and colors, perfect for gifting too. Over 1 million people are raving about them and you could be next. Try Blissy risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.com/straightpod and get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/straightpod and use code STRAIGHTPOD for that extra discount. Trust me, your skin and your hair will thank you. All right, let's jump into questions. I've been dating my boyfriend for 7 years, and his kinks are all about me having sex with my ex-boyfriends. He wants to know every detail, and it gets him off. Sometimes he even wants me to say their name too. It doesn't bother me, but is it weird? We leave the conversation in the bedroom, but sometimes I know he's in his head about it.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, if you asked me if this was a request from you, I would be very concerned.
Wait, they're like having sex and he's asking her about it while they're having sex?
I guess so, or maybe before they're having sex, like talking about her exes. Well, what is that called? A cuck? When like you want to see your girl get fucked by someone else? That's his kink then, right?
I don't fucking know. Is that what a cuck is?
I think so. Is that too inappropriate to say on this podcast?
I don't know. To be honest, I've been called a cuck during like COD and I never knew what it meant.
Really?
No, I was like, does that mean I'm like a shitty player?
No. Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah. I'm going to be really offended if it's not what I thought it was.
A cuckold, or cuck for short, is a person who finds sexual pleasure in their partner having intercourse with people that are not him.
These motherfuckers.
Did you just think, like you didn't think to
This COD group I'm in is brutal. This whole time I was like, I get it. I'm like the shittiest player on the team. It's not what that meant at all.
No, John. Oh no.
All right, fuck you guys.
You're like, yeah, I am.
I mean, yeah, I am. I get it. I'm like terrible at the game, but okay, now I know.
I mean, to each their own, but yeah, I think this is weird.
Those are people's kinks though. Like how many, there's so much porn out there about like guy watching his wife get hooked up, like railed by some other dude. Like those are all kinks.
But work in one relationship might not work for other people. So
What
if
did
this
you?
is fine with you,
What do you always say?
don't yuck someone's yum.
Don't yuck someone's yum.
So you can ask us if it's weird. If it doesn't bother you, who cares?
Well, it seems like it probably makes her
she said
uncomfortable.
it doesn't bother me. We leave the conversation in the bedroom, but sometimes I know he's in his head about it. So it's like he's self-inflicting harm, you know, like afterwards he's like, oh,
I mean, as long as
I didn't ask.
I guess
wish
if, like,
I didn't hear that.
if you're not affected by it, and then also like if this is just if he keeps it in the bedroom, right? It's like if it leaves there, then it's gonna affect your relationship. I think like if he's able to like separate the two.
I think if you don't think it's weird, if he doesn't think it's weird.
Well, you're saying he's in his head about it. So like if this is fucking him up mentally, like this is probably something that you guys need to have a conversation about.
Right.
And unless it's literally just a kink, but there might be some underlining meaning to that.
I just think it's funny that your friends have been calling you that and you have no idea, and you had no idea what it meant. But moving on, next question.
They're terrible people.
I'm in a 2-year relationship and we've been living together for over a year. I just found out my boyfriend doesn't brush his teeth daily and he just scratches himself when he's showering. He grew up in a very broken home and didn't have any parental support, so I can kind of understand his lack of hygiene. I brought this up to him and said gently that I was concerned about him. I tried to explain how this is impacting our relationship and intimacy. He said he was fine and he doesn't need to brush his teeth daily because he goes to the dentist 3 times a year. I said, well, they aren't kissing you. How do I get him to brush his teeth and be a clean person?
What do you mean he's just scratching himself?
Probably like not using a washcloth or maybe not using soap. Like he's just like in the shower scratching his skin.
Gotta go back to basics. Watch him do it and be like, this is how you bathe.
And right, I think that there's and to your point, you said gently that you were concerned, but there is a way to gently encourage him.
Prompt him to do
Maybe
more.
make it about sexy time in the shower. And you're like, hey, scrub my back. And then when he goes to just use his nails, you're like, that's not how you properly do it.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Having sex in the shower, but like make sure you're both fully clean first.
Right. You know.
You're like, ooh. You
Ooh.
want to touch my front? Let me clean your chest for you.
And this is how you do it.
That's smart.
Make it
I think that's
make it fun.
That's the best advice.
But brushing your teeth though, that's huge.
You can still do the same thing, but you want to make out? Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe start saying that, withholding kisses from him until he brushes his teeth. I guess if like you're not used to it, but if I don't brush my teeth, like after a few hours, like you get that like fuzzy feeling.
Gritty feeling on your teeth.
I think one of my biggest icks is bad breath. That's why I always have gum or mints with me, because I never want to be that person.
Your breath does smell sometimes, though.
So does yours, John. Like when you wake up in the morning.
I'm intentional about not breathing on you or anyone. Like I'm very self-aware of it.
So you think that I'm purposely breathing on you?
Not purposely, but I think you're unaware sometimes when you're like,
like when I'm asleep?
no.
When do I do that when I'm awake? When do I do that?
Sometimes when, we're making love. We're like kind of breathing in my direction.
That is so not true. Number one.
And I just kind of like block it out because I know we're both like in a
you're the one who gets out of breath. Like
out of breath is different than bad breath.
Yeah, but like you're playing.
That's why we turn away from each other. And I try not to like breathe in your ear either.
I like how you make it about like, you're like, oh, your breath sometimes. Like, have you ever smelled your stank breath? Like, that's just a part of living together. But if I knew that you weren't brushing your teeth, I'd be like, John, a lot of it comes from brushing your tongue. You have to make sure you have a clean tongue. What
sucks is you can't use mouthwash anymore. They're saying all these bad things about it.
I mean, you can. It's
taking all the bacteria, the good bacteria out of your mouth.
But you use mouthwash.
I know. I'm like, I know you're not supposed to, but I hate not using it. I also smoke cigars and stuff, so I really need
having good hygiene is so important. Someone said, one of my friends said, a good comeback if like someone's coming at you, like one thing to like stop them in their tracks is just saying, first of all, brush your teeth.
Ooh. No, what your dad said, first off, lose the attitude.
No, but like brushing your teeth is like such an insult, like an unexpected insult where you're like, You're gross.
What's your number one insult to someone to like when you're like in an argument?
I'm so nice to everyone that I.
Mine is always no one likes you.
So good, John. My God.
Well, you know what? Nobody likes you.
I'm glad that you crack yourself up.
Whatever it is.
You should be nice to people.
However the argument starts, like, oh yeah, well, nobody likes you.
But who are you saying that to? Your COD group?
Yeah, probably.
Who are calling you cucks?
Yeah.
Like, so they call you a cuck and then you go, no one likes you?
I think so, yeah.
I think you need to up your argument.
I'm just so nice that I don't have enough comebacks.
That's a lie.
Okay, next question.
What's your opinion on finding out your partner was subscribing to OnlyFans? We've been together for 8 years and I found out from an email notification, did some research and found out he had been subscribing for a few years and following/liking posts on Instagram. John, do you subscribe to an OnlyFans account? Alex, how would you have handled this situation?
No, I am never going to put myself in a situation where I know I'm going to have a fight with Alex. Besides the bike.
I was going to say, you did this week.
I look at everything like, even like, for example, my Explorer page. My Explorer page, I saw that SNL thing and I wasn't even with you. And I'm like, let me not look at hot women. So my Explorer page isn't
so you went out of your way to just like pop culture stuff so that your Explorer page changed.
I just went out of my way to not click on any photos of anyone. Because as soon as you click on one, it's all over there.
But I think doing something so that your partner doesn't get mad is not the filter or the focus that it should be because you don't want to do that. Like if you're with someone,
I don't want to pay either.
Instead of being like, so that's why it's because you're just cheap. You're like, hey, you can get it for free anywhere else. No. I don't like your responses right now. You're like, I didn't like the hot girl's picture, not because I didn't think she was hot, but because I don't want Alex to get mad at me.
No shit. I know where this is going. No, I just don't. I don't care. I don't care enough. You're right. I don't want to pay for it. I also don't, it doesn't like, I'm not motivated by it. Why? I'm not saying I don't watch porn. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. Like, if you could do it for free, but like, even that is like so sparingly when I do it. Like, that's just not something I'm into. So if you're offended by that, your significant other should be aware of your feelings. I'm also aware of like where you stand with things. Like, would Alex be mad at me if I did this? Sure. I'd be mad at you if you did that.
Well, okay. I mean, I'm just trying to get at like, are you only doing it because you think I would get mad? If like we weren't together, do you think that you would subscribe to an OnlyFans account?
No, I've never paid for anything.
I think the issue with OnlyFans is it's not just general, it's very personal. So you're following one specific person. And so, yeah, this would piss me off more than just a general, looking at porn. But it's because you're specifically seeking out one person. Like if you had one person
it's more
that you
intimate,
were actively
I guess,
following because you were sexually attracted to them and that's what got you off, like that's what would annoy me.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely more intimate of an action.
But how would I handle this situation? I mean, he's been subscribing to this for a few years. Like I think you can, that's a long fucking time, but I would give you the opportunity to change your behavior. And then if nothing happened, take those next steps and do it as you will. Because again, you can address it, see how he reacts and what action he does after that. But I guess give him the opportunity to change.
If this is a hard no for you, then yeah, you need to have this conversation with him. Do
you think that this, like, let's say roles were reversed, is a deal breaker if I was subscribed to like a male's OnlyFans?
I don't know what's a deal breaker or not. We would have a conversation though, because I wouldn't like it. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't like you because you're right. It's very intimate to one person, and you're seeking that one person's videos and photos out. So it would make me uncomfortable.
In the same realm as that question a few weeks ago where that guy was caught jerking off to his coworker's picture. And it's like, that's a real person. So are these people. It's like, and not
that's a little more intimate even OnlyFans because he works with that person.
But it's like, it's still different than just like the general like people doing adult films, Right. It's like you're continuously waiting for this one person.
But look how we're talking right now and like justifying what we think is okay, because that's how our relationship
right.
is.
And in some relationships, like none of it might be okay, or you don't care. You might have an open relationship. It just
It's whatever you're willing to tolerate and be comfortable with. If
Good
you're not
point.
comfortable with it, then have the conversation with them. Like,
we'll have the
if
conversation
it's
either
us,
way, yeah.
no, I wouldn't be okay, and I don't think you'd be okay with it either.
No, that would really, really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
This episode is also sponsored by Rocket Money. How much do you think you're paying in subscriptions every month? The answer is probably more than you think. Over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. I definitely did. You might find out you're still paying for a streaming service you haven't used in months. Thanks to Rocket Money, you no longer waste money on the ones you forget about. With Rocket Money, you have full control over your subscriptions and a clear view of your expenses. You could see all of your subscriptions in one place, and if you see something you don't want, Rocket Money can help you cancel it with a few taps. I love how the dashboard shows me this month's spending compared to last month, so I could clearly see my spending habits. Plus, they'll help me create a custom budget and keep my spending on track. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is submit a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They'll deal with customer service for you. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can help grow your savings. They have over 5 million users and have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/straight. That's rocketmoney.com/straight. rocketmoney.com/straight. Next question. I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years and we plan on getting engaged soon. When I showed him photos of some rings I like, he told me he already had one. He then proceeded to tell me that his mom gave him her engagement ring and wedding band for him to give me when we got engaged and then married. This is the caveat. His mom is divorced, and those were her rings from her previous marriage. I didn't say anything at the moment because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. However, I did say that I wanted a different style from what he described the ring as, and he said that those could be future anniversary gifts. Honestly, I don't want rings from a relationship that didn't work out. I appreciate any advice.
So this would be my advice for that. From your standpoint, like, I understand not wanting to have a ring from a divorced marriage, whatever, all that. But if it's a financial thing for him also, like, you getting married should not be about the ring. So to meet halfway or whatever style you want, whatever you want should be what he can afford from selling that ring. Sell that ring.
But I don't think there's any reason why she has to get those rings specifically.
I'm saying if it's a financial thing, like, you guys it shouldn't be about that. But like, he should go pawn whatever he could do and see how much money he can make from that if his mom's okay with it, and be like, this is what I have for a ring. Mm-hmm. Get what you want with what you can.
Right. I agree. Because I think that there is a sweet gesture of having a family heirloom, but to your point, I think it should come from a healthy relationship. I wouldn't want rings that were given to someone else in a failed marriage either. That's what I said about Yellowstone with Rip. His mom was in a very unhealthy relationship and he still gave Beth those rings. Didn't he like unbury his mom?
Not for nothing. He had no fucking money. Of course,
it's not a money thing. It's not a money thing. I would literally rather you give me nothing and like propose to me with a ring pop than have rings that were from an abusive relationship.
Cool. And look what you're doing right now. You're telling me that. You're explaining that to me. Like, that's right. What you need to do. I want her to be just very aware of maybe his situation that he's in, though, financially.
Correct.
Like, do not look at this wedding just because you want to. Not saying you are, but like, it's not about the ring.
No, it's not. But to your point, communicating why your reasons, because I think that they're very valid reasons.
Yes.
Number one, like, you want a different style, but to your point, making sure that it's in his financial wheelhouse, because it's not about the rings, but it is about the rings when they're sentimental and they're coming from a failed marriage, and that's not the bad juju that you're looking for.
You can navigate this conversation in a healthy way to where it, like, there's not going to be a fight, you know?
Right.
Like, just be aware and careful with that.
Correct. Next question. I recently broke up with my girlfriend. We are 7 years apart, and I feel she's in a different part of her life. She is 23, and I am 30. And although our chemistry was very good, sex was amazing, and our morals in life were very similar, I had to end it because she didn't have any aspirations in life. She works a few days out of the week, but nothing consistent, and does enough to get by. Every time I would try to bring up the topic of her goals or our future, she always had the same response. If you don't love me for who I am, then I'm not the one for you. Am I the asshole for breaking it off because I think I deserve better and need a woman who has goals and aspirations? I don't think.
What was the problem?
She basically, they had a 7-year age gap. She didn't have goals or like aspirations for the future. She was just kind of like, I'll do what I can to get by. I just think a lot of that probably has to do with age. We were just talking about this yesterday about age-wise when we graduated school, and we were like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
Like just trying to figure it out, and like you might have had an idea, but you don't know how to get there. But being 30 and 23, the 7-year age gap might not be that different when she's maybe in her later 20s, or, you know, just depending on the personality, because I know that age gap can work. We're 6
that
years,
is a
5
huge
years apart?
difference, though. I mean,
but just in life experience, like when you're in your 30s already and someone's in their young 20s, like you've hardly experienced the workforce. So how is she supposed to? I don't think you're the asshole. You guys are just wrong place, wrong time. She's just not there yet. And she might not ever, you know, she might just want to be taken care of and not have, you know, work super hard, and to each their own, you know, whatever floats your boat. But I just think it's most likely because she just doesn't have the workforce experience yet or know what she wants to do.
oh my God, I'm just thinking of that time was such a hard learning curve. I mean, going from college, if we can give anyone advice in college, like, sure, have a great time and like you're going to learn a lot of life skills, but if there's any way you could try to figure out a path, and I wish I did that, because my undergrad, I just pissed away. All I did was party, drink, barely passed. And I got out. You go from having all your friends, I'm just going down this whole path. Right? You go from having all your friends, all these people the same age, to nothing.
To bills, having to figure out how to pay those
It's
bills.
not a steady, it's like a fucking hard cut.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because it's like college life is so free. Yeah, you have like your class 1, 2, maybe 3 times a day if it's a busy day. But then when you graduate, you're like, what the fuck do I do now?
Sink or swim.
Real life. Yeah. It is a tough transition. And I don't know, maybe she didn't go to school, but either way, that time in your life is still a huge transition of what do I do with my future? How do I even figure it out? And some people don't figure out what the fuck they want to do until they're in their 30s or their 40s, and it can shift over time.
You gotta get out of your comfort zone. Like, don't worry about, even though I'm just, try to have an idea of what you want to do. Like, you don't have to go down this just straight work path, but try a bunch of different things and kind of figure that out early on, so then you can get going with your life.
Yeah. But it just sounds like right now you guys are in different places in your life, and that's okay. You're not the asshole. She's not the asshole. You just are not aligned.
But you can't,
currently.
you can't like force her or push her into like a
No.
direction. She's got to figure that out on her own.
100%.
Yeah.
Next question. My childhood best friend of 25 years has been dating her boyfriend for 10 years, and quite frankly, he sucks. He cheated on her a handful of times that we know of in the first 3 years, and it has been hard for me to like him since then. There have been many things that have come up since then that make us speculate whether he has cheated more recently or just got better at hiding it. Of lately, I've noticed her social media is full of pictures of both of them, but he has no photos of her. And even when she shared a story celebrating his birthday captioned, "The love of my life," he didn't share the story, but he shared everyone else's birthday post. Seems fishy to me. She also complains about him a lot, but also has some good things to say, but for the most part has become very private about their relationship. I think because she knows her friends don't really approve. My struggle is I want her to feel more comfortable opening up to me, but I can't pretend to like him. I even wish I could forgive him, and I feel a bit silly that I haven't, because if she can forgive him for what he's done, surely I should be able to. Am I the asshole for not forgiving him and for prompting this wall of secrecy between us because she knows my response will be something along the lines of, "You deserve better," if she opens up to me?
Oh my God, who cares? Just like, don't fucking be her friend, whatever. Like, this is so annoying. She's not going to change. She knows he cheated on her. Like, you don't get involved. It's just going to fuck up your mental health, and like, just do your own thing. It's annoying. You're not going to fix it.
I think at some point you have to realize that in other people's relationships, it's out of your control. Like, you don't have to fucking forgive him. He's a shit person. Your friend is the one forgiving him. Good thing you're not dating him. But I mean, yeah, it sucks that now this is the relationship between you and your friend. I have a very similar experience of someone in my life. And like, you just have to separate those two and be like, thank God I'm not you. Thank God I'm not living your life, because I would gouge my eyeballs out. Like, and she's choosing that for her. So it's not you, and you hate that for her because you know that she deserves better. But that's, if that's the life that she wants to live and she's happy doing that, you could lead a horse to water, but you know, you could tell her it's not going to happen for her until she has that realization. And it's sad because she's going to lose a lot of friends along the way because of her shitty boyfriend. But again, that's not on you.
Yeah, you need a point of separation, I think.
But don't lie. Don't feel like you have to forgive him just because she's your friend and she forgave him. So, like, that doesn't matter. He's still a shit person. No, you just don't have to have him in your life. I don't know. I just think a lot of times people dance around these hard topics with their friends, and it's like, just,
if she doesn't want to hear the hard truth, then like, don't hang out with you, you know?
Right.
Like, if she's going to ask you for advice or anything, be like, I'm going to let you know how I stand on things.
And that's the issue, is like, if you feel like she's distancing herself because like you're giving her the honest truth, that will eventually take a toll on her, or not, of her not being able to open up to people. Like, if you feel like you can't tell people the truth about your relationship, perhaps there's a problem there, you know? Like, and I don't think that means that you have to open up about every issue that you're having in your relationship.
People try to just justify their actions, like, of the relationship or defending the other person. Like, don't waste your breath or your mental. Oh my God.
Years. Like, they've been together for 10 years.
With like weird people in our life, and I'm like, oh, you're brainwashed.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Like, in this
there's
toxic
no helping
cycle.
you. There's no helping you.
And again, that's what it comes down to, where you're just like, I hope you're happy.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't waste your energy on this.
What does annoy me though with that is that person getting mad at you for not wanting to be a part of their relationship.
But again, that's nothing that I can do. Like, when that's your boundary, I'm like, I don't want to be around this shit person that you decide to be in your life.
But I guess you can't expect them to be self-aware of that, because they're already not self-aware of like their own relationship.
Right. I mean, it's shitty, but I think as long as you have clarity on what type of relationships you're looking for the people in your life, if you're good friends with her still, that's fine. You can have that relationship, but there's no reason why you have to forgive him and keep him in your life unless he approaches you or, you know, bridges that gap, or I don't know, shows you that there's some sort of change. But to me, like, the biggest red flag here is there's no pictures. He didn't reshare her post. Like, the red flags are hitting her in the face. If all of her friends are seeing these things, she's putting blinders on. She's choosing to ignore it for whatever reason. And I think all that you could do is hope that one day she opens up her eyeballs and sees the truth. But until then, there's not much you could do. It's out of your control.
Moving on.
My mother-in-law did something almost unforgivable. I, 31 female, have been married to my husband for 5 years, dating for 9 years, and we have a 1-year-old daughter. In the beginning of 2020, my husband and I discussed having a kid, but then COVID hit and we decided to put off having a kid until the pandemic had passed. I'm a research meteorologist and he's a geologist for an oil company, so sometimes he and I aren't at home a lot. Fast forward to the beginning of 2022, and I found out that I'm pregnant. It was a bit of a shock because we weren't trying, and both were still on the fence about having a kid because we were both busy with work, but ultimately we were happy about the pregnancy. Everything went pretty well during and after the pregnancy. That is, until my daughter's birthday. My mother-in-law was giving a little speech at the birthday party, and while she was talking, she said, "If it weren't for me, we all wouldn't be here." My husband asked her what she meant, and she point blank said to him that while she was house sitting for us during one of our work trips, she knew we were on the fence about having a baby and decided to poke holes in our condoms to get the process going. Everyone at the party, including myself and my husband, were shocked and irate. We have not spoken to her since, and my father-in-law is thinking about leaving her because of her actions. Recently, she reached out to me and asked me to send her a picture of her granddaughter. I haven't replied yet, and my husband said it's my decision if I want to send her a picture, but he does not want any contact with her. I have mixed feelings because I have my daughter now, and I love her more than anything, but I'm also very angry because the choice to have a kid at the time was ripped away because of her. Should I try to keep some sort of contact with her for the sake of my daughter, or should I just cut her off altogether?
Oh my God. That's fucking wild. Why would she announce? So she is announcing this at a party for her own, what's the word I'm looking for?
So, gratification?
Yeah.
Like she wanted to be a grandma so bad that
no,
she
more
said,
so like making it about her.
Right. Right. The fact that it wasn't like, I'm going to do this really inappropriate, unforgivable thing to my child and his wife, but I'm also going to make it about me and then let everyone know because now she's here and it's okay because everyone loves her.
This is weird, but would this be a similar situation as, say, your dad's on life support and you all are trying to figure out what to do, and I went and smothered your dad and killed him because I didn't want you guys to be in pain? Isn't that similar to that? Like I'm doing this selfless act, so I think for the greater good.
Why is that the analogy that you try to draw?
I don't know.
Like,
isn't that
bringing
similar
life
though?
into the world versus
Ending life.
Ending life.
Well, I'm just saying because it's like everyone's on the fence what to do. Like, do we continue on life support or do we pull the plug?
No, I don't think so because their decision wasn't dire. It wasn't like, oh my God, we need to have this baby or not. Like, whereas like when someone's on life support, it's like you have to make a decision.
Well, the doctor says like he might come out of the coma.
Oh my God, literally, why are we talking about this hypothetical? Let's talk about this actual question.
Because it's a similar thing. I'm just saying, like, maybe you can think of what you would do in that situation to help figure out what to do in this situation.
Instead, that's also like ending life. Like, oh, hands are washed. We don't have to take care of this person. Now this is like, oh my God, we have 18 plus years of having to raise a child. Maybe they weren't there financially. Like maybe, and whatever, like your daughter is here, but that is just, I don't even have a word to say what type of behavior that is. Psychotic? What if I found out that your mom did this, which that would never happen because number one, we didn't use condoms and your pullout game was just like amazing. But if I found out that was our method of protection.
That means that your mom would go through our bedroom, snoop around to find, or his mom would go in the bedroom and snoop around their drawers and shit for condoms. I feel like very intrusive.
Like, could you not, do you have old condoms? Like, is this a crime? She admitted to it. I'm like, is this a crime? Is this a crime? This is insane. The fact that it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm a cleat chaser and I want to get impregnated by this really rich NFL player and I'm choosing to have his baby. He has no choice. The fact that it was a third party that was involved and was like, I'm going to make sure that these two get pregnant and have a baby.
I keep going off subject, but do you remember that episode in Ballers where like she gave it's Denzel Washington's son in real life. He's like the wide receiver. Mm-hmm. I think it was him like giving him head, and then she keeps it and spits into a condom, and then runs outside and gives it to like her handler or whatever.
Why don't I remember that episode?
To impregnate herself.
I don't remember that episode. People are fucking crazy. And again, I could understand feeling so split because like now your daughter's here. You love her. You probably can't imagine your life without her. But now you feel like it wasn't just because it was an act of God or what was meant to be. It was because your mother-in-law intervened.
Well, hopefully you have another set of grandparents.
Well, yeah, if your parents are around. It doesn't.
And then you also have the father-in-law who's willing to leave her. So then you can have.
What would you do? Let's just say, like, what would you do?
If it was my mom, I don't know. I'd probably hold a grudge for a very long time and then end up letting her back in.
But never trusting her.
Yeah, it does suck.
Because even if it was my mom, like my mom is such a bad liar though. Like she wouldn't be able to. She can't keep a secret for a second.
We'll say she did.
Okay, but it would be a similar situation where I just feel like you completely and utterly broke this trust that we have here, it would take a long time for me to forgive, I think.
Oof.
A really long time. But I understand, wanting to keep this contact for the sake of your daughter. Like, you don't want her to lose contact with her grandma, but you also have to do what's best for you. And it's not to say you'll never get to the point of forgiveness, but this is insane.
I seriously am so toxic. I'd probably make sure that she's emotionally suffering before I let her back into my life.
Like, did she apologize? That's what I want to know. Like, what was her response? Did she say, I'm sorry? Does she even,
she definitely doubled down.
she even
She's probably
have
like, you're welcome.
Oh my God. Oh, I mean, I would love to know what her response is. Does she feel any responsibility? Because I'd be like, well, now that you brought this baby into this world, you can help finance her. Like, you can now cover her college tuition.
If you want to see her again, triple
you can
down.
cover her college tuition.
You want to see her again? Guess you're paying for her college.
Yeah, you wanted to be so involved in bringing this baby into this world. Perfect. 24-hour childcare on the dot whenever we want.
I wouldn't let her babysit.
I mean, she wanted her. Like, it's not, she's probably a good grandma, or maybe not. Who the fuck knows? But that's literally wild. I don't know. It would take me a minute in order to forgive. But, at this point, all you could do is focus on your family, your daughter. She's here. You love her. That's just a mind fuck, though.
Let's go. Next question.
Such an invasion of privacy, too.
We've already talked about this. Next question.
Oh my God. I can't stop thinking about it. Next question. I have observed while listening to you two talk to one another that you both can easily argue and disagree, but are totally fine in regards to your relationship. My husband and I are the same way. We have different points of views on little things, but on the important things like parenting, money, big life things, we respect one another's opinions, communicate, and are always a team. That being said, when we are around other people and disagree, family or friends around us seem visibly uncomfortable. We are not screaming or tearing each other down, but simply communicating how we feel/think. However, our friends look so concerned that we're on the edge of divorce because of these conversations. Sometimes I feel insecure or embarrassed about it. I've even had a friend point out to me that she and her husband never fight. Have you ever observed these looks from people who care about you? Has anyone ever said anything to you about this? I don't know if it's just because we're from the East Coast, but I feel like we only hang out with people who do
I don't know. I think
banter with each other.
Even yesterday, even just being on the phone with my dad, and I was telling you, because you were walking on the Nordic track or whatever that thing is, and your treadmill, and I was like, hey, the camera people are coming, they're gonna have to go in our room or whatever, hurry up and shower. And you're like, they could just work outside. And I'm like, I guess you just know everything or something like that. My dad, he was on the phone. He goes, take it easy. Oh, take it easy.
Your dad is probably like, your wife is pregnant, leave her alone. But I just think not even stuff like that, but in general, where we're when with our friends in LA, remember we used to have this thing, if we were having an argument,
we're winning,
yeah,
or
if they were having an argument, we'd be like, we're winning, and if we were having an argument, they'd be like, we're winning. But I think it's just, you can openly communicate. I don't think raising your voice in front of other people is appropriate. I don't think tearing each other down. But I don't know. I don't think that we've ever hung out with any couple who has never bantered in front of us. Even our friends this past weekend, they were going back and forth after something.
It's just natural.
Yeah.
I mean, people say they never fight. I still don't believe them.
Well, I'm like, what? That's a lot. How are you in a
So then one of you is just constantly just passive,
right? Yeah.
Whatever the other person wants. Someone seems
not
healthy.
happy in that relationship.
Yeah.
If you never fight, someone's not happy.
You're probably the couple who also just blast social media with how much you love your partner.
Right. You have paragraphs and paragraphs about, happy birthday. We've been through ups and downs.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I mean, I think
I resonate with this person though. That's who we are.
Right. But have we ever had looks from people who care about us, or has anyone ever said anything? Not that I can think of.
We've had arguments, but we've never made it real in front of people.
Right. Where
we're self-aware enough to not have a screaming
again
match.
I also just think our arguments are never geared towards not liking the other person. It's something Like,
It's like debate. It's
turn-
always debates
why
about
did you
something.
choose to take this highway and not these back roads?
Right.
You know, like they're never real.
Annoying. They're like annoying arguments.
I just don't know that we surround ourselves with people who aren't really as loud as us.
We're just real people.
Right, but so are the people who we hang out with. Like I can't think of one couple or one group of friends that we hang out with unless they're in an emotionally immature relationship, like, and they don't understand how people communicate in a marriage or in a long-term healthy relationship. Like you have to be able to have
people in newer relationships, I think I rarely see them like, because they're so in that honeymoon phase, you know?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. But also, like, who the fuck cares? If you have an opinion about people give us opinions all the time, even on this fucking podcast. The amount of times that people have been like, oh, you guys hate each other, you're getting divorced, or oh, I had to stop tuning in because you guys yell at each other all the time. It's like, do you even know what a relationship is? A marriage is? Like, you have to be able to communicate and have these conversations with each other. But
those are also the ones who have like a flower as their profile photo.
Right.
You know.
But my point being is that, like, as long as you're secure in your relationship, who cares what everyone else thinks?
Facts.
Next question. My husband is attending a golf outing 2 hours away from our home. He asked me if he could spend the night at the hotel with the other group of guys that are also attending the outing and then drive to work the next morning from the hotel. I told him I would prefer him not to, and for him to come home after the outing, which means he'd come home around 9 p.m. and then leave to go to work from our house the next day as normal. For context, the golf outing and work are in completely opposite directions, so it's not like he has to drive back to the same spot the next day. If golf and work were in the same area, of course, I'd tell him to stay the night. We also have 2 small children, 3 years old and 7 months, so having him being away for 2 full days is straight hard. He has also gone on many multi-day trips for work/leisure so far this year, including out-of-state trips, and is going on a weekend trip this fall out of state. So it's not like he doesn't get any of his guy time. Whereas I don't get out much and never take weekend trips. I am breastfeeding, so that makes it hard to be away overnight. Maybe me saying no partially has to do with jealousy, but the other part is I simply want him to come home so I can see him and spend time with him as well. Am I the asshole?
At first, I was like, just let him fucking do what he wants. And then I was like, you have 2 kids. That's unfair.
Yeah, it's not like you don't have responsibilities at home that he's
the fact that you're also like he's doing this multiple times a year, like that's very gracious of you. Because I know if I was her, I'd be like, Alex, no, you're not fucking leaving me.
Immediately no, especially like with 2 kids. You're like,
No.
I would also love an outing. Because I'm sure the reason why he wanted to stay at the hotel is because like they're going to be drinking all day.
And he doesn't want to drive.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't want to have to sober up and drive
Boo-hoo,
home.
dude. Go home. You have responsibilities.
Be responsible. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's the filter that he should be operating off of as well, is how can I help my wife?
Families
like I have all these other responsibilities at home. And like, to your point, he has gone away multiple trips.
He should fucking stay. And then you put the bottles in the fridge so you have a day. We should actually have this conversation, because when we have a kid, like, I don't want you leaving, and
John,
I'm not going to want to leave.
You act like John is so afraid that I'm just going to like have this baby and leave him and like go on like a 12-day girls trip. Like that, literally,
It's not going to happen.
We won't even be able to go on a trip. Like, again, there's just like your baby needs you for a really long time. And why are you so afraid that I'm just going to like, I won't be able to? If anything, like you already are trying to plan a trip to fucking France.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes.
I was asked to go. Mm-hmm. I said I probably won't go.
Okay.
Good question that we should ask. Like, when are you allowed to leave the baby for a couple days?
I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer there. Like, according to what I've seen, I think, again, like if you're breastfeeding or formula, whatever that kind of looks like. But I think like there's crazy people who just leave their kids, from
like
the
if
start.
if we have a work trip, we got to be gone for like 3 days. If we can't bring like an in-law with us, and we have to leave a baby, when is an appropriate time to, like, if you stocked up on breast milk and formula and all that, like, when is it okay?
I don't think that there's a
right
or
or
wrong answer there. I think it's honestly like
6 months, a
between
year.
how you feel and how your baby is doing.
Right.
Like what I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. I think it truly is just like something that you have to decide in the home because it's going to look different for everyone. Like, do you have other kids involved? Like, what is, do you have enough supply?
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about just us, one kid.
No one is going to be able to answer that for us, John. Like, you're looking for these things that are not black and white is the thing. Like,
Well, you're asking, like, you're saying other hypotheticals. Is there other kids involved? I'm like, no, I'm just talking about our scenario.
I'm not talking about hypotheticals. You love to bring and be like, what's the right or wrong answer here? And you're like,
okay, I'm not saying what's the right or wrong. What is everyone's opinion or like, what is like, I don't know, getting more information on it.
Probably talk to like his pediatrician. Like maybe they would have more
a pediatrician
insight on when you can depart from your child and for how long. Like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that for a while I will want to. Like,
right.
You just want to make sure that they're growing, that, I don't know, or maybe we don't like him and we're like, someone else take him.
That's a joke. That's a joke. Everyone relax.
But I don't know. I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer. However, to this question that we're answering, I think that you're not the asshole. Your husband needs to be more understanding about the load that he's putting on you while he's enjoying his leisure time with his guys. Like, you're even like, he's going. It's not like he's not enjoying golf night or golf day.
God forbid you can't get drunk and you have to drive home.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all she wrote. Let's tell a secret.
Secrets.
Tonight, when my little kids filled up the tub for their bath, they yelled to me saying that there's hair, thinking it's probably just a few strands of my daughter's hair and for them to scoop it into the trash. When it was my turn to take a shower, I noticed there was a lot of hair at the drain. I cleaned it with toilet paper and realized they were my pube hairs from shaving the night before. I'm going to take this secret with me to the grave. Except you just told everyone. We shared.
How long are your pube hairs?
Maybe it was just like one of those long, like took a while trims, like full.
I remember growing up and having to like fish my sister's hair out of the tub.
Not her pubes, disclaimer.
No, just like her hair.
Well,
I remember
you guys
like
all
it's like
have
a rat's
really,
nest.
You have all really thick hair.
My sister has some of the thickest hair I've ever seen.
If you had long hair, you would be the problem. Like, I have a lot of hair, but it's like thin strands.
I wouldn't say a lot.
No, when I got my hair done, she was like, you have a lot of hair.
Huh.
And it's all mine, John. A lot of people don't have real hair. This is all my hair.
All natural.
Oh, natural. So anyway, before we end, we will wrap up to the not so fun part of this podcast that we've been putting off for a really long time. Not putting off for a really long time. I just think that like we never knew when we were going to address it.
Don't cry.
I won't. I mean, if I do, I can't make any promises. So, I mean, as you guys obviously know, John and I have been struggling with a high-risk pregnancy from the beginning. And not that we weren't planning on sharing, but we weren't sure if it was going to be after he was born, you know, before we had to deliver. But the further that we progress, it's just getting harder and harder to continue to show up and give you guys the energy, the headspace that you deserve, and just like ultimately the show that you deserve.
Okay.
Look at me like that. I guess we could just start from the beginning. I mean, there's going to be a lot of medical terms involved, and I'm going to do my best to explain what everything is. So I would say the first like 12 weeks of our pregnancy were just pure bliss and happiness because we hadn't had an anatomy scan yet. And we were living in California still at the time. So we have our first MFM, which is maternal fetal medicine scan, where they scan the whole body of the baby, make sure everything's growing well. And that's when we were informed that we had a 2-vessel cord, which is the umbilical cord, and then a velamentous cord insertion. So if you don't know what those things are, a 2-vessel cord is where the umbilical cord, it generally has 3 vessels. I think, is it 2 veins in 1 artery or 2 arteries in 1 vein? I don't know. At this point, we have had so much information. So essentially, the way that our doctor explained it was babies can operate. It's like operating on 1 kidney. You can function and be healthy, but there's a lot of risks involved. One of them being growth restriction. A lot of them, there's a lot of risks involved with that specific thing. But she was like, if it's just isolated, there's nothing to worry about with that. The velamentous cord insertion is another risky thing, but she was like, it's just something that we have to monitor. And that's where the placenta, the cord doesn't insert into the placenta like normally. It goes into the edge, which has exposed vessels, and it's not in the center of the placenta. So that worried us, of course, because we were like, this isn't normal, or, but it's, as soon as we spoke to our OB, she reassured us that like, this is very rare, but we just have to monitor baby. So instead of just going in for, monthly scans, we had to go in bi-weekly. So when we moved to New York, we had another scan with our high-risk doctor here where they found vasoprevia, which is not to be confused with placenta previa, because a lot of people get diagnosed with that as well. It's like where your placenta covers your cervix, and it's still dangerous. But vasoprevia is another form where it is the arteries, the vessels going from the placenta to baby. They're across my cervix. So basically, which means if I go into labor, baby would hemorrhage and die and burst through those. So essentially with that, it also requires extra monitoring and then also early admission into the hospital, because the further along that you get, the more at risk baby is of hemorrhaging, those vessels bursting. And so there's a lot of restrictions that I had to be on, pelvic rest. I had to stop working out, not lift things, and that really impacted us heavily as well, knowing that I would have to be hospitalized for a month and a half away from you, out of the house, just out of work. And we were willing to do anything to make sure that was going to be delivered healthy and reduce that risk, but knowing that he also would have to be born early. So generally with vasoprevia, your babies come between anywhere from like 34 to 36 weeks is usually the latest that you'll go, because the more weeks that progress, the higher the risk is of those vessels bursting. So we've just been monitoring things, monitoring his growth, and again, as things have continued to progress, because it's really hard when babies are so little to see everything that's going on in their anatomy, like their heart function, their liver, their kidneys, all of these things, their brain, just their organs. So a lot of our doctors were just like, we're going to watch him, make sure he's growing and keep an eye on these things and make sure that he's progressing how he should. But there's not a lot that we could do until he gets bigger, because there's not much that we can see. So the bigger that he's gotten, it's not just an isolated, single umbilical artery anymore. We've found that he has several issues with some major organs. And so there's a long journey ahead. So there's a long journey ahead. I'm okay. For us, and you can chime in, John.
To be honest, I didn't want to fucking tell you guys anything. I mean, I don't think it's any of your business. I think we're going through something a lot of couples do. And I'm proud of you for wanting to share our journey to hopefully help other people.
I think it's just like, sorry to cut you off, keep going.
I just think, we're going to just one day at a time, I don't think we have to go in any more detail about what's going on in our life.
No. And I don't think we do, but I think I wanted to be honest about why we can't continue. It's because I will be in the hospital for a long time. And we don't know how long our baby's going to be in the NICU or what types of procedures he's going to need once he's here. And so, it sucks. Again, we've said this before in our previous episodes that you never anticipate this going into pregnancy, that you're going to have all of these things go wrong. But I think when you make the decision to start a family, you are opening yourself up to health concerns and these risks. And it doesn't necessarily stop when you deliver a healthy baby. It's something that you're concerned about for the rest of their lives. You're always wanting to make sure to keep them safe and healthy. And that's all that you could ask for. And that's what we're just praying for, what we're hoping for. But it's given me a lot of perspective, because I think we were really naive going into pregnancy, just assuming because we were both healthy that, you know, because you look at me on the outside, it's like things look like they're progressing fine. But
it's just like, it's just been like one thing after the next. And like, you know, you could tell the difference between Alex and I right now. Like, I'm emotionally just dead. I'm drained. We've been doing this for 6 months and it's been nothing but terrible, terrible news every time we saw an OB or the MFM. And I just like, I hate what you're going through because I don't know what you're feeling. I mean, I feel like shit, but I just like, it's terrible that I can't do anything to comfort you.
It's just like a mixture of feelings. It's like such highs and lows of like hope and then feeling guilty that like I'm not,
I think
my
you said it
body's
right.
not able to like provide
5 steps forward, 2 steps or whatever.
1 step forward, 5 steps back. It's like, but again, you just don't imagine that your body doesn't do what it's supposed to do for your child. And so you feel guilt, even though our doctors were like, I was like, what could have this, like, how could this have happened? You know, is there anything that we did, like genetic wise, whatever? And she's like, no, you just got really unlucky with this. And so it's just a matter of monitoring and keeping, like, we don't go in for an appointment every other week now. It's every week. We have anywhere from 1 to 3 appointments. So it's taking a toll on just our well-being, honestly. It's been really tough. And it's tough on our families too. I feel bad because we're such positive people, or at least I'm a positive person. And so I'm very optimistic going into these appointments. And then it's like to just every time take a step back or get another hit of bad news, and then having to inform our families and then see them hurt because we're hurting. Bad. And then it's just like this cycle. And there's nothing to really say. I mean, I will say what not to say. Don't tell me to fucking be positive. Like I just think there's nothing to say. You could be there for support, but if anyone in your life is going through this, you know, it takes a toll. And I was talking to you about this earlier, where it's crazy because like 7 months ago, 8 months ago, before we obviously found out we were expecting, like this,
never was a thought.
Never was a thought. And it's like, now it's just something that's so all consuming in our lives. And again, it's just, I think that's part of being a parent. Like when kids get sick, that's not fair. No one asks for that when something happens. So I think it's just life. And sometimes you just get a shitty hand and we'll get through it. But, you know, I know that we've like kind of vaguely spoken about what the issues were that we were having, but it's not just, oh, I'm 32 and I'm old and that's the problem. It's a lot of physical things. And
every week was different for us. You know, so touch and go.
Yeah.
Every week was something different. And we'll see. But we're, you know, you're not alone. If anyone else is out there that is going through this, like it's fucking tough. It's hard for both. And, you know, we're telling you guys this because we're going to take a break from the podcast for a while. So we'll keep you all posted on what's going on.
Yeah.
So
again, and this isn't a decision that we take lightly. We obviously came back with intentions to stay back.
Right.
But, you know, life had a different plan for us, and we just want to be able to give you guys the best show. And we can't be funny when like we're not feeling funny. And again, there's some days where we're great, we're really productive, we could do a lot of work. And then there's other days where it's just like, we don't want to get out of bed. So you just never know what type of day it's going to be. One week is so different from the next, again, because things change so much with babies. They grow so quickly. And so we're just praying for the best. We have each other. We have a great support system around us. And we want to thank you guys. All of your outreach has really been so helpful, so motivating. And you guys have just been so kind and I feel like graceful throughout this entire process. And again, if you're dealing with something similar or you're not, like, I hope that no one has to go through this, but it's so rare. You never think it's going to happen to me, but there are just so many risks with pregnancy alone that if it's not what we're specifically dealing with, it could be something else. Or when baby is here, you know, you just never know. But all you could do is just pray for a healthy pregnancy, a healthy baby, a healthy a healthy life. So we want to thank you guys for coming on this journey with us. And we apologize for ending this on a sad note, but hopefully, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. Anyways, guys, with that said, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for
We will
tuning
see you
in.
at some point.
You can you can follow along on our socials. You guys know that's
Yeah,
where
I think we're doing everything else still. It's just the podcast is just kind of a big lift right now for us to do.
Well,
and,
it's not just, I know a lot of people are like, it's just an hour. You sit down, you talk, but there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And I think because it's not just we're putting on a character, doing a quick 30-second skit, it's a lot more mentally taxing. And like, we want to give you guys the background of what's going on in our life, but that also is a lot of weight on our shoulders to continue to feel like we have to show up as these positive people on a public platform when like that is the opposite of what we're really
and that's
feeling.
not fucking real.
No.
We're
like
real.
our skits, like we're characters of ourselves. Like we're not actually vlogging. Like our podcast is our most raw form of social media, if you will. But, you know, and we love that. We love connecting with you guys and having this platform to do that. But at this point and at this season in our life, it's just, it's not feasible. But we love you and we thank you. And we will see you when we see you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.